So this video is going to be a little more advanced for advanced thinkers like you. To help us to think about some advanced concepts, I've got some bowls with me. These are bowls. And these bowls here illustrates everything. Imagine that everything that exists is represented by these bowls. The question that I've been interested in this series is, why does anything exist? And more specifically, why do the particular things that exist, why do they exist? So, why do these bowls exist? The theory that I think really best answers the question, that best makes sense of existence, is what I call the foundation theory, which is that at the bottom of reality, at the foundation of all things, is something that doesn't depend on anything beyond itself, but rather is self-existent. It exists because it cannot not exist. 3 objections to the foundation theory. These are advanced. First is what I call the plural theory objection. Second, the fallacy of composition. And third is going to be the super advanced objection from bootstrapping. So let's go through these. First, we have the plural theory. Now, when we ask why does the universe exist, for example, doesn't that assume that there is such a thing as the universe? What if instead there's things arranged universe-wise? Or instead of there being a bowl, there are things arranged bowl-wise? Then we wouldn't need to ask what explains the existence of the universe, just as we wouldn't need to ask what explains the existence of the bowl. Because there is no such thing as the bowl. Instead, there's things arranged bowl-wise. So this distinction between things and thing provides a way out of the foundation theory. In fact, it reveals that the very question the foundation theory is seeking to answer is just misguided. You can't explain the existence of the universe because there's no such thing as the universe. My response: if this bowl is made up of things and there's no such thing as a bowl, we can still ask, why are there those things? Why do those things exist rather than not? Let me take this jacket as another example. It seems to me that this jacket didn't just bring itself into existence, or it didn't snap into being from nothing. Now if somebody says, look, the jacket doesn't actually exist. Maybe you're watching this video and your name is Peter Vanenwagen or Trenton Merricks, and you don't think this jacket is real. But you still think that there are things arranged jacket-wise. You think those things are real, and they're being arranged jacket-wise as a real state of being. And you can then ask what explains the existence of the things arranged jacket-wise. Similarly, if we have a stack of things making up reality, we can still ask of those things what explains their existence. Merely pointing out that there's many rather than one doesn't take away the need for an explanation. So I don't think the plural theory of existence really provides an alternative to the foundation theory. Instead, it just gives us a new way of talking about the foundation theory. The foundation is a foundation of all things, the stack of things that make up reality. Even if there is no such thing as reality, there are the things, and they depend ultimately on something, a foundation. Advanced objection number 2, the fallacy of composition. This is the objection that it's a fallacy to infer that just because each part of some total object has a feature like being a bowl, that therefore the total object has that same feature. This stack of bowls is not itself a bowl. Similarly, why think that the stack of dependent things would itself be dependent on some transcendent foundation? Good question. Here's my response. While it's true that not every property of a part is inherited by the whole, some properties are. For example, if each part has mass, then the whole stack, no matter how big, has mass. If each part is by nature made of plastic, then the entire stack of plastic things is made of plastic. You can't build something that doesn't have plastic as its composition just by adding together things that have plastic. Similarly, you can't build something that has self-existence just by stacking together things that don't have self-existence, things that instead depend on other things. It seems that reason and experience both together testify that any stack of dependent things is itself dependent. So again, although the whole of things might have some features that the parts don't have, when it comes to dependence, it looks like the whole of dependent things would itself be dependent on something beyond it. Are you ready for the super advanced objection? This objection is the bootstrapping problem, and it has to do with how the foundation could produce a dependent stack of things. I mean, look, the foundation is supposed to be a self-existent thing. And so if it produces the effect, shouldn't the effect also be self-existent rather than dependent? Or if on the other hand, if the production is itself dependent, then shouldn't it be part of the dependent stack? In which case, how could it be the cause of the dependent stack? It's already part of it. My response: I think the objection actually helps us to see a distinction between the existence of a thing and the existence of an action. So the dependent stack of things requires a foundation which explains their existence in terms of not another thing that's between them, that doesn't make sense, but rather an action. And the action can't itself be self-existent, or else the effect would be self-existent. But for the effect to be dependent and not self-existent, the action of the necessary foundation would have to be non-deterministic or free. Why do these objections matter? 2 reasons. First, they use reason to test the foundation theory, and any good theory should be tested using reason. And second, they help give us a greater insight into the nature of the foundation. For example, in the last objection, we saw that the foundation can't produce dependent things in a kind of deterministic way, but must instead do it in a more spontaneous or free way. And that's pretty interesting.